Welcome to Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus. For all you naysayers that are saying now, forget the Super Bowl, get rid of the coach, they can't play. Well, once you look at this game, they did not play that badly. That's a pretty good team that the coach got. But at the same time, they must improve. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to let you know it wasn't a bad team. It was a bad game. We'll be back in a moment.
I wish you weren't so worried about moving.
I'm hoping these nature sounds will help me relax a bit.
At least we don't have to worry about homeowners insurance. Just call Geico.
Geico helps with homeowners insurance? Good to know.
Feeling better?
I love you, Pookie Bear.
I love you, Pookie Bear. I love you, Pookie Bear. I love you, Pookie Bear.
Get to know Geico and see how easy homeowners and renters insurance can be.
Their defensive line played well. You know, our offensive line played well. They just made more plays, and it was like it's a game of inches. And there was a couple opportunities that I missed when our guys were right, and they won their battles. So those are things that I'm going to focus on. But their defense played sound. They played sound team ball, ran to the ball, made great tackles. So we have a lot to learn.
They were a bend but don't break defense. They like to play zone. They're gonna make you make plays, and we just kind of knew going in that they were gonna play a lot of zone coverage, and we didn't run the ball well, so they didn't have no threat of the deep ball.
Welcome back. A lot of enthusiastic fans there, and I guess at the end of the game, the coach were a little bit more happy. We're back in the second week, 1-1. This team is not that bad. I'm all set right now because I couldn't show my face in town because I thought it'd be a blowout, but you got Mike Baker there as usual. The man that's been there is putting this together. You got the G-man, kind of cold in the room because he's there, and Donna Hopkins, who I've never seen shoot a jump shot but act like she can play basketball. Guys, let's talk a little bit about this game. All the fans are talking about, oh, this was terrible. They played terrible. To me, and I'm going to ask you this first, Mike, the two lines, offense and defense, were outplayed.
Well, it was interesting you should ask me that question, Tony, because one of the first questions in the press room after the game was, what happened, Jay? And he said, well, when it came to passing and it came to running, he said the stunts, we couldn't handle them. We weren't ready for them. We couldn't handle them. We couldn't pretty much figure out what we were going to do with them. And then I have to tell you, Tony, the most amazing thing happened. Just as Jay answered that question, in the monitor in the room, Kirk Cousins had just hit Adam Thielen with a 22-yard touchdown pass to bring the Vikings within 2 points, and the look on his face was priceless. And then a second two later, he actually, Cousins hit Stephon Diggs with a 2-point conversion. And that was all going on while Gruden was trying to answer questions about why the Lions couldn't handle the Indianapolis Colts. That was pretty momentous occasion, I think.
Well, I hope it didn't bother him much, but to me, and I want to ask you this, G, a little bit, it looked like the wide receivers early on, they caused them a lot of big plays. Plays that could have, one was a big first down, one was a touchdown. And you tell me, it looked as if these guys really don't have a game breaker right now.
Well, I think we have a game breaker. Just unfortunately, in this game, they didn't make plays to break the game out. So they got great receivers. They got good receivers. I think they'll come into their own. Quite honestly, they had a chance to win this football game throughout the game. Even though they kept shooting themselves in the foot, they still had a chance to win this football game. And unfortunately, they just didn't come through and do it.
Well,
Tony, can I jump in right quick?
come on with it.
You said that this wasn't a bad game, but it was a bad game by this team because they became one-dimensional. We have been stressing as far as the running game, and they couldn't get that going because of what the Colts were doing on defense as far as with the stunts, as far as the soft zones. And pretty much we were talking about this team needs to be balanced. They are not balanced through the first two games because they cannot get their passing game going. In the first game, between the trio, as far as Richardson, Crowder, and Dotson, they only had 8 passes thrown their way between the three. And in this game against the Colts, only 10. So this team did not play well on the offense. You think about Alex Smith didn't have a chance to get any balls off because with so much pressure coming towards him, and the offensive line did not play well. So I'm trying to understand from you, how did they play good at all on the offensive side of the ball?
Can I ask you something, Tony?
I don't know. I beg to differ with one thing. And, you said that they did not play good in the first game. Receiver-wise, the receivers did not catch a lot, but you had 2 running backs that had an enormous amount of yards. And what I think happened on Sunday to me is they went away from the run too early. Had they kept with that run, I think they would have opened the receivers up a little bit more. I think that they went away from the run, and I don't think they were forced to go away from the run. I think they gave up on it a little early.
Let me ask you guys a question. What about Richardson and Dotson? There's been a lot of criticism of Dotson this week. He went out for what we used to call in the old days a button hook route, and he just stood there waiting for the pass instead of really coming up and getting it. He got criticism for that. He dropped another one, a beautiful one on the sideline. Is he going to be your banner guy? Is he going to be your stopgap measure, or is he going to be a bona fide star, Tony?
Well, if you take a look at it, and you have to ask G-Man that a little bit, I think we were asking that same question last year, and we wanted to know that prior to the year with that. He steps up, he makes some great plays, but at the same time, consistency is the thing that you have to have out of all of your wide receivers. And you also have to have that with the offensive line. What I kept looking at with the offensive line, the Colts defensive line played 2 yards on that offensive side line of the body in the Redskins backfield. And I noticed that also with the defense line. So really what I think, the aggression wasn't there. Had they gone on and ran the ball, that would have made Dobson and all the rest of the receivers better. Do you not believe that, G?
Yeah, I think when it comes to Dotson, I think he has all the tools and capabilities to be, quite honestly, one of the best receivers in Redskin history. He has the tools. It's a matter of just putting it together. And it's early in the season, and as a receiver, you always have to make them forget your failures. Or anything that you fail, so you can move forward, you have to come out and have a great game and make them forget your last game or your last catch, so to speak. So if he comes out and has a great game this week, then they'll forget about last week. This is kind of how it happens. When you win, they forget about the losses. When you lose, they continue to dwell on everything that you ever did bad.
Tony, I can't let you off the hook right now. Because
but you got 30 seconds down.
Well, with the running game, they ran for 3 quarters, and they couldn't get it going. But Gruden said that he was off rhythm as far as his play calling. I think that that's what should be talked about is just the play calling a little bit.
Don't even answer it, Tony.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, they didn't run enough with Donna. We have to take a break now. And I tell you, when we come back, we have to talk about that before we talk defense because I think you got it all wrong there. That's too wrong, Donna. Hey, Mike, can you get somebody else on the set?
No.
You know I tell the truth.
and we just not showed it tonight. Not play Redskin football, and that's the most disappointing part about it. In all phases of the game, it's just, you get the opportunities like that, you can't get them back. So you got to capitalize when you get the opportunity, and we did, and we just didn't do it today. That's the most frustrating part about it all, really. We had a good game plan. They came out with different, wrinkles, that you got to adjust to throughout the game. But, we got great coaches. We adjusted to it, and, they just hit us on certain things, man, when it counted. So we just got to make those plays when they count. You know what I mean? We felt like we were stopping them. They hit some plays or have a big drive, and, that's the difference in our game. You know what I mean? So you got to outplay their defense and, play at a higher level than that and make the plays when they count.
Make sure we capitalize on our opportunities that we had. We just got to make sure somehow, some way as a defense, we got to make sure we find a way to stop them. Our offense was depending on us to stop them, and we didn't perform. So.
Well, I'm going to start this segment by answering your question, Donna. I don't think they ran the ball for three quarters. I think more or less they ran it sparingly for 2 or 3 quarters, but they did not run the ball for 3 quarters. Had they continued to run the ball, I think they'd been better. But now let's go on the other side of the ledger and look at the defensive line. It was the same as the offensive line. The coach were penetrating them rather than them penetrating the coach. So therefore, they really never made the plays because they were never off the line of scrimmage. Now, what the coach did to really fool this team was they knew their 2 outside rushers were their big rushers. They knew those 2 big inside guys are really not pass rushers. So what they did was they pushed the outside up the field, and they stopped the big defensive tackles around the line of scrimmage, and they threw quick passes. So it made the defensive line look bad, but they showed the inefficiency that they may have pass rushing.
Well, I think one of the biggest problems was Alex Smith didn't have time to throw the ball, Tony. You had 2 play-action passes where essentially the defenders were on top of Smith by the time he got the ball.
And he got sacked.
So that offensive line, it just did not handle that defensive line
Mike,
well.
give them a break. We on the defensive line now. Give them a break.
No.
They got beat up. Let it go.
Well, but Tony, as far as the defense and everything, the opening game for them to drive down the field and score right off the bat. And I know that they were off balance a little bit in there, and they said that they made some adjustments. But the only thing that I can take away positive from the defense is the fact that DJ Swearinger got those 2 picks, and they weren't able to do anything with it. But I think the defense did not play well overall as a whole unit. They had spotty play.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I think the defense played good. It was basically 9-14 all the way into really the 4th quarter, So at that point in time, the defense had done what they needed to do. At the end of the day, the defense, 17 points or less, the defense was doing it. Unfortunately, they gave away that 21st point, which kind of blew that away. And that's why it looks like the defense didn't play as well. But I got a chance to win in the 4th quarter. It's 14-9. I scored a touchdown, 16-14. We win, So I think the defense played okay overall.
Okay, then.
Okay. At the end of the day, 0 would have been great, but.
Yeah.
Okay,
I can't blame the loss on the defense, that's
right.
for sure, because at the end of the day, the offense has to score more points.
Except that first drive of the game, Tony, where the Colts drove the entire field and scored 7 points. When was the last time you saw that, where the Redskins were at all competitive?
Well, actually, Super Bowl 22.
Oh, okay, 10 points down. All right, you were 10 points down.
Okay,
you're right.
22,
we all thought, but we didn't think it was over then because
you had. Y'all were booing us.
But you guys had the posse.
G's right about that, but let me tell you this. Yes, you can look at that first drive, and then if you want to go on the other side of the ledger, on the offensive side, the best running play of the day for the Redskins was on their first drive. But that first drive was not really the way that defense played. I'm like G on that. They gave up 21 points, but at the same time, they were in the game all the way until the end. That defense held them out. They gave turnovers. They did everything that they could. Now, they did not get the pass rush I thought they'd get, but at the same time, they lost because they could not get the pass rush, and the offensive line could not make a play from the run.
We couldn't score points.
We
couldn't score points.
And they're 2 point. Right with 2 minutes left in the first half. Once again, they did not manage the ball well. They didn't even take a shot in the end zone. Their 2-minute management is awful. And I don't know if Bruce is calling it from the booth, but whoever does it, you got to give Jay Gruden a little help with that.
Oh, I don't think Bruce is calling it, but at the same time,
one time he said he was doing it.
I kind of agree with you on the play calling, but at the same time, I think it was dictating the way the game was going. And I think what the Washington Redskins ran into a fast, young defense and a fast, young offense. And they had to adjust their play, and they did not get it adjusted, but they were in the game until the end of the game.
Well, Tony, the funny thing about it is the players talked about the consistency. You know, you think about the first week when they pretty much dominated on all three phases of this team, and they played well. But then they come into this Colts game and they hear all the talk about this Colts defense secondary is not that great, and then they come and just pressure them. But I think nobody realizes that the defensive coordinator came from Dallas, and now he's with the Colts, and he pretty much knows how to put a scheme together to take away the Redskins as far as their running game, passing game, and he did a pretty good job, so he knows them well.
Well, you know, adjust, you got to be able to adjust to anything that they give you. You got a plan A that you would like to see happen, but you also have a plan B and sometimes even a plan C, because you have to make adjustments during the course of the game, because that's just football. Of course, they're going to game plan you.
So what you're saying that they make adjustments, right?
They didn't make the adjustments they needed to do. And one thing you guys are saying is true is this. They did not beat the Washington Redskins physically as much as schematically they beat them. And that was the total units that beat them. Offense, defense, and special team. Their scheme was very good. So when we start talking back again, we won't talk about physically being beat. It was mentally being beat.
Yeah, too, but you adjust to the schemes, though, Tony. You have to, as a player, I'm going to adjust to something that I see on the field, because at the end of the day, I'm a bigger expert than a coach that's coaching me. I just am. I've played longer. I've played a position longer. They can't tell me something that I already know. Like, I'm telling them what I'm seeing on the field. So when it
all
comes
right,
to
let's
that,
take a break right now. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the special teams.
They got you upset.
A little bit.
Come away with me, Barnabas.
But I am a simple farmer. My life is here. In the field.
Ahoy, hoy, Alexander Graham Bell here. No, my number is 1. You must want 2. 2, I say.
Like my father.
Ahoy, hoy.
As long as people talk too loudly on the phone, you can count on Geico saving folks money. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
You know, each and every week we tell you there's 3 facets of the team, and every facet is equally important. And we're talking about special teams now. And guys, fill me in. I saw some good things on the special teams, but we never see anything outstanding. That special team got to start changing field position or giving us points, one or the other.
Well, first of all, Donna's namesake missed a field goal.
One, Mike.
Yeah, but still, I mean, when you're only scoring field goals, you need to kick 4 field goals.
That changes momentum.
And Jamison Crowder fumbled the ball, thank gosh, on a punt return. You cannot have Crowder back there on punt returns. You can't have that.
He had problems last year, didn't he?
Yeah, heck yeah.
I'm not going to talk bad about Jamison ever. So
no, I mean, he's a phenomenal player, but you know,
I dropped a punt return before too.
You do not want him hurt. You don't want him back there, Tony. You don't.
Happen.
Yeah. Well, you know, whomever they can get back there, I'm also talking about the front individuals, too, on coverage as well as blocking. And you talk about everybody, the unit. But as we said, the unit has been nondescript thus far. Mm-hmm. And Hopkins, Donna's cousin, as she said, did miss a field goal. But overall, they kind of held their ground. But at the same time, that's what helped the Colts win, because their special teams were playing well.
Yeah, they were. I mean, Hilton's a one-man band.
It'd be nice to get some big play out of the special teams. If you get like one big play out of special teams each week, then your special teams people start to notice your special teams, and people start talking about your special teams, and people understand that you have a special team. If you don't make any big plays, people it's kind of like dormant about it.
It's just them.
You know, if we kick a field goal at the end of the game to win the game, that's a big play.
Yeah.
You know, things like that.
Block a kick, do something,
Yep.
anything.
They came close.
They really changed momentum.
Close.
Well, I tell you what, with the special team, we can talk about what we want to this week with them, but what they have coming up next week with Aaron Rodgers in the game coming in,
man.
everybody better play well.
Everybody.
And the game is never over until the overtime is over. When we come back, we'll talk about those Green Bay players coming in there, and we're possibly the best quarterback in the game,
Not Brady.
including better than Brady.
He's not better than Brady.
Moment.
What do you mean it's not working out, Craig? I mean, I just introduced you to my parents.
Psst, Craig and Sheila broke up. What? Really? Craig and Sheila broke up? No. Craig and Sheila broke up. Never liked that guy. Oh, that was terrible. Craig and Sheila broke up.
Craig and Sheila.
As long as office gossip travels fast, you can count on Geico saving folks money.
Craig and Sheila broke up. What?
15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Welcome to this week's Sports Bar Challenge. In this week's game, we have the Lions hosting the Patriots in Detroit. Crystal City Restaurant likes the Lions. Crystal City Sports Pub likes the Patriots. Greavy's Restaurant likes the Lions. Hard Times Cafe of Fairfax likes the Patriots. Harry's Ale House in Fredericksburg likes the Patriots. Nando's Peri Peri Chicken likes the Patriots. Look for this to be a tough, hard-fought game, but I like the Patriots on the road.
Soccer fans in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area were excited as Brazil and El Salvador met in a friendly match at FedEx Field in Landover on September the 11th. Before this friendly game, Brazil took on the U.S. in a friendly game at East Rutherford, New Jersey. This was the first two matches since Brazil was eliminated in the World Cup quarterfinal.
Now check out this,
So is it excited to be here tonight as far as the game?
Oh yes, we're looking forward to this level of seeing soccer live tonight.
And Brazil is my adoptive country. Win tonight?
Brazil's gonna win, of course.
Brazil's gonna win, of course.
Put us on the grupo. So maybe we'll get the World Cup sometime soon. Yeah, maybe we'll get the World Cup sometime soon. Huh?
Spotted at the game were Washington Redskins' Josh Norman and Darius Skice, along with Alex Ovechkin. Josh Norman, a longtime soccer fan, exchanged jerseys with Brazil's captain number 10, Neymar Jr.
And the captain for Brazil's number 10, Neymar Jr.
A bountiful trip to the Washington area for Brazil, who put on a show, and at the end they were all smiles with a 5-0 win over El Salvador.
Welcome to New Faces. In this week's segment, we will talk about Redskins rookie defensive tackle Deron Payne from Alabama. Payne was brought here to help a horrible run defense from a year ago, and thus far, he's been productive. Look for that to continue as the season moves forward.
Let's look at little games right now. Cincinnati, pretty good team. If you look at Carolina, everybody thought they'd be better than they were. I saw them play in Atlanta, and they were not that good. The defense was a little bit shoddy, but you also got Big Cam. As long as you got Big Cam, you got a chance to win. When you look at Cincinnati, that is a team that got rid of a lot of their bad apples, but at the same time, they got young players they're trying to work in. They've won more than they have recently, but at the same time, I take Carolina. Carolina's a good team. Carolina got offense, defense, and special teams.
In week number 1, the Dallas Cowboys team as a whole played like that they were in outer space. In week number 2 against the Giants, they started putting things together a little bit. Prescott passed for just 160 yards, but it's their running game that got on track with Ezekiel Elliott running for 78 yards, and the Dallas defense ended up with 6 sacks. Now, the rumor is with Cleveland releasing Josh Gordon that he may end up in Dallas, but this week, Dallas will travel to Seattle to take on the Seahawks, who have a short work week to get ready for them. And although some familiar faces are gone for Seattle, they are a dangerous team. But the good news is on defense, they get Earl Thomas back. So I'm giving the edge to Seattle.
I have the Giants at Houston. I'm in Houston. Did I really want to come to Houston to watch the Giants play Houston? So both teams are 0-2. To me, I'm probably going to be watching the other games on my phone because maybe I'll end up in a tie. Ties tend to be happening in the NFL this year. It'll probably be 0-0. That's what I'm having to say. I'm going to watch another game on my iPhone. What can I say? I don't want to watch this game. Tony, why did you send me to Houston? I'm a little upset with you. Who I think is going to win? I don't know. Houston will win this football game.
You know, Tony, there is a superhero who goes to all of these Redskin games, and he was there on Sunday, but it didn't help because the Redskins laid an egg. Nonetheless, this is the Redskin Marauder with Chris Thompson, and that's why Chris Thompson had such a banner game on Sunday, because the Marauder was there watching him and supporting him. I'm not allowed to give the last name because we don't reveal who these superheroes are, but his first name is Sean. Anyway, in the picks this week, Tony is already going for desperation to try to catch up because he's 1-3. Cincinnati.
Come on, man.
Cincinnati at Carolina. Everybody is going Carolina. We've got Giants at Houston, and everybody's going Houston. Denver at Baltimore. This is where Tony goes awry. Tony's got Baltimore. He's smart. It's Donna that's going with Denver. What the heck? Dallas at Seattle. This is where Tony's going for Dallas. I never thought Tony would ever pick Dallas. And Oakland at Miami. And I think, let's see, Tony's going Renegade again. He's got some stock in the Gruden empire. He's going with Oakland. And I have one question for you, Tony. We're going to play the Packers. They're a lot tougher than the Indianapolis Colts. There is a guy by the name of Randall Cobb. Believe it or not, he has 104 yards after all his catches. How do you stop a guy like Randall Cobb when the Skins are playing zone and can't cover anybody?
As long as Randall Cobb is not throwing the ball and catching it at the same time, he can be stopped. You stop him by hitting Aaron Rodgers. Got to keep Aaron Rodgers in the pocket. The game is never over. You got to be smart and play your position. That's what they have to do. The running game is not that great for Green Bay, but overall their defense is not that great, but they got Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and even with the big knee brace, I guess you guys saw the game. Even with the knee brace, he's somewhat mobile in the pocket. He's not scrambling much, but he's still got accuracy.
Yeah, Tony.
Well, you know, we got about a minute left, and I just want to ask each and every one of you, what do you think they need to do to beat the Green Bay Packers?
I think,
Come on,
Tony, I think that the Redskins will be able to pass the ball. Kirk Cousins had over 400 and some yards, but they just need to play a complete game.
Mm-hmm.
Stop Rodgers.
Yeah. Last week I said that they had faster linebackers and we had to go downfield. I ended up being right. You better guard Jimmy Graham. You better cover Jimmy Graham or he's going to kill you on Sunday.
And, Mike, I have to agree with you on that, but at the same time, I think it's the Washington Redskins will run that ball. Let Peterson run as many times as you possibly can. Let Thompson get in there. Let that offensive line fire off on because their defense is not that good. The defensive line is not that good. Nope. If they do that and continue to do that consistently, they're also keeping Aaron Rodgers off the field, and that's what they need to do to win. So as we talk about winning, I end with this. How can Mike say I'm 1-3 and I was 3-1? That shows you why he's behind in the picks. Were you 3-1?
I am so sorry.
Next week,
I am
they
so
would
sorry.
Have beat the Green Bay Packers. We want you to come back.
We want you to be.
McGee's Pro Football
I'm
Plus
sorry,
in
Mr.
a minute.
McGee.